Today I'm going to act out an imaginary scenario just to see what I can learn from it. I'm going to pretend, okay, this is a imaginary scenario, that something really bad has happened over on that side of town. Something really bad. Say it's a massive wildfire or an explosion, maybe Godzilla's tromping through town, whatever. And you have to make your way from one side of town to the other side. This is an urban environment, and your safe destination is 2 or 3 days journey from here by foot. Now, the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to try to see what I can scavenge along the way as far as survival supplies go. You're not going to need that much and that much time, but you will need some things like food, water, shelter. Maybe not food. You can go for weeks without food. You'll get really hungry, but you can survive. But you will need water. So the first priority would be to find some water. And for this pretend situation, I'm going to say that you have to survive with just what's in your pockets right now. Check your pockets right now. What's in there? Okay, that's what you have. You don't have a go bag. You don't have a bug out bag. You forgot all that stuff at home. You were just going to the bank to make a deposit or something, and all hell broke loose, and you got to get out of here. The streets are full of crazy people, looters, gangs, a lot of confused, scared people. You just got to get through town as fast as you can and get to where you're going. But it'll take you 2 or 3 days to get there. Now let me show you what's in my pockets. Now this is honestly what's in my pockets all the time. I have a cheap camping knife, but this knife it's got a glass breaker on it. It has a very small ferro rod, and it has a tiny little flashlight. So that would be handy. What I also have a flashlight. It's not a good one, but it'll last me for a few days. If you're out, something happens at night, you can imagine trying to make your way through town at night without a flashlight. I mean, maybe the power's out. Maybe it's just too dangerous. You got to get out of here. You got to get through town and get out the other side. And it's going to take you 2 or 3 days. So my first priority right now would be to find some water. Let's say you didn't even eat anything yet today. I didn't. So that's true. But I'm going to look around. This is a park. First place I would head would be City Park if you could find one. Try to find a drinking fountain or somewhere where we could get water. So let's look around. Okay, right here on the side of this municipal building is a place where you could get water if you had a Silcock key, which I don't have with me right now. But that would be a potential source of water if you had the right tool. Here's something useful right here. This trash bag. If it's raining or snowing, or even if the wind was up, and you needed to shelter yourself from the wind while you walked around, you could take this trash bag, turn it inside out, cut a couple holes in it, and use it as a temporary poncho. Now you got to remember, you're not in a fashion show here. You're just trying to survive. So that would be something useful. Take that trash bag, turn the bag inside out, cut a couple holes in the sides, and you've got yourself an instant raincoat. I did see a car cover back there. You know those big covers for your car? Now that would make a great tent. If you had to fashion a tent from something, you could snatch one of those on your way out of town. Just saying. Don't break the law. But just saying, that would potentially make a good tent. I'd like to talk a few minutes about the gray man myth. I think this is a myth. I don't know, it's a prevalent idea in the survivalist slash prepper community, whatever you want to call it, that somehow you can dress indistinctly, you know, just in a non-tactical manner, and somehow magically slip your way out of town without being noticed. Now, here's a piece of wire. A piece of wire could be useful, but somehow you can magically slip away through crowds of people if you just don't stand out. And I think that's a misconception. I mean, you may totally disagree with me, but just hear me out here a second. I don't think, if it's a really bad situation, people are in a panic, they're desperate, they're trying to get out of town or through town, or just trying to get to safety somewhere, that it's not going to matter what you're wearing. If you're wearing full tactical gear or pink pajamas and a Hello Kitty backpack, it's not going to matter, because you're just going to be a target no matter what. People will head for you if they see you have some supplies of any kind. It doesn't matter what form the supplies take. I mean, what you have them hidden in. There are all kind of websites online that'll sell these so-called non-tactical backpacks. You know, don't stand out in the crowd, wear this non-tactical backpack and you can slip away and get to safety. I think that's a misconception. What I'm wearing here is, I guess you'd call it semi-tactical looking, but it's what I wear every day, and it's what people expect to see me in. It's what I wear all the time. I did go to a camping store one time for a seminar, and I was sitting in the chair waiting, you know, for the seminar to begin. This guy next to me looked at me and he said, "Well, you're certainly dressed apart." And I looked at myself and I said, "Well, yeah, I guess, but this is the way I dress all the time, dude. You know, I'm not trying to be Mr. Tactical here. I'm not trying to dress up. You know, this is not a costume. This is what I wear all the time." But, you know, it's to him it looked different. A lot of rural areas, if you weren't wearing camouflage, you'd stand out there. That's something that's up to debate, I think. My personal opinion is, as far as looking too tactical, I'd rather look like a threat than look like a victim. You know, some of these guys, they got their full battle gear and everything. That's their bug out costume. Fine, more power to you. I don't think it's really going to matter. I don't think it would matter. Not to be too obvious, but as everybody knows, dumpsters are a good place to find supplies. You at least find you some cardboard to use for insulation. There's temporary shelter, whatever you need. But as far as temporary shelter goes, when you're in the city, there are plenty of places to get in and out of the rain, out of the snow. So you're not looking for that. You're just trying to get out of town. You don't need much. Maybe a drink of water. If it's 2 or 3 days, you need something to make a shelter out of later on, after you get out of town. We're pretending the town's full of crazy people right now, and you're just trying to get out of here. So what could you get to make a shelter? You could wait till you got to the woods and make a debris shelter or something like that. Or you could gather something along the way. My idea is to see what you could gather along the way. So far, not much. So far, a total failure. We'll keep looking. Still looking for scrap here. There's a lot of things you could use. There's a mattress. I'd be looking for a large sheet of plastic. Vinyl. Not vinyl, but you know, the sheet plastic you could use for a tarp. Something you could fold up, take with you, and use later on as a tarp. That would be something really handy to gather as you got out of town. We'll keep looking here. Some of these trash bags are really big. You could probably use a couple of those to make a makeshift shelter later on. They're really big. Also full of holes. Okay, I found a pile of scrap wood here. You could potentially fashion into some kind of a weapon for self-defense. It's not going to help you much as far as guns go, but be better than nothing. Okay, I'm back home now, and I'll have to admit that this little scavenger hunt was a failure. Not a total failure, but pretty much a failure. But here's what I was trying to do. You have to imagine, okay, let's pretend that you're on the far side of town. Something disastrous happens. You have to abandon your car. Maybe the road's closed or blocked off, destroyed, whatever, and you're running for your life. You have to get out of town. And your safe space, your little area where you're trying to get to, your bug out location, whatever you want to call it, is 2 or 3 days away on the other side of town. So on the way through town, you're trying to scavenge as much material as you can that you'll need to survive. Just some drinking water, something to improvise into a shelter. If you don't have any tools, say you don't have any tools, you forgot your bug out bag, you don't have your everyday carry bag, your get home bag, or whatever you want to call it, you don't have anything except what's in your pockets, and you have to get out of town. So what do? Can you survive for 2 or 3 days on what you have in your pockets? No, you should have to, probably have to gather a few things along the way. I was thinking I could find a large sheet of plastic to use for a tarp, something to use for a improvised shelter on the other side of town. You could ask some homeless people. I mean, homeless people have to go through this every day. But let's say you're a temporarily homeless person and you're just trying to get out of town after a large-scale disaster. And you can't stay around. You can't stick around town because it's too dangerous. You have to get out. So you don't have time to make your little cardboard box house, whatever you're going to do, or break into a building to shield yourself from the elements and from danger. You have to get out of town. So what do? What can you gather along the way? And it was just an exercise to see what you could gather quickly along the way and easily and legally. For this exercise, I was trying, to see what you could do legally without breaking the law. If it's a actual emergency, disaster, without rule of law type situation, it'd be a whole different scenario. I mean, you'd have to do what you have to do. But hopefully this video just gives you a few ideas, some food for thought. What would you do? Maybe it's middle of the night. It's the middle of the night. It's winter. You have to abandon your car and head across town and out the other side to get to your safe area. how would you do it? And it's going to take you 2 or 3 days to get somewhere safely. How would you do it? What would you do? Leave some comments. If you have some ideas, some suggestions, I'd like to hear them. I'm sure some of my ideas are pretty bad ideas. So, maybe you have some better ideas. I'd like to hear them. But anyway, this exercise was just done for fun. And thankfully, it's not a real live disaster situation. Godzilla's not storming through town or anything like that. I'm just playing around, but trying to learn and trying to see what I would do if it was a real situation. If this was for real, what would you do? Well, thanks for watching, and take care. And remember, learn something from this, and that is, build some sort of an everyday carry kit or a get-home bag, something small. It's just the bare essentials that you would need to take with you if you're just trying to get out of town. I'm not talking about a full-blown get out of town bag. I mean a bug-out bag, but something. You should at least have a flashlight. Carry a flashlight with you at all times. A pocket knife. Maybe a multi-tool. And the rest could be gathered along the way. A large sheet of plastic I was wishing for that. That'd be a great thing to have to make into a tarp. You can use that for a shelter. Also, let's say it's 10 below zero. You just went to the bank or something. You just hopped in your car. You're just wearing a light jacket or something. You're not prepared. Suddenly, you have to walk a long way. And there's no way you're going to make it in the clothing that you have on your body at the time. So what do? How would you improvise insulation? What would you do for water, food, defense? There's a lot of things to just think about. So thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe and share and like and all that good stuff. I'm going to work on getting a better camera. I'm just using my phone right now, and I have a camcorder. It's not great. I want to get a better camera one of these days, hopefully soon, but stick with me. It will get better. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.